All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest economic revolutions happening right now, the commercialization of space. And look, this isn't about planting flags anymore. This is about building a real, honest-to-goodness marketplace in the final frontier. To get a sense of just how big this is, let's just start with a number. In 2024, the global space economy hit a record $613 billion. But what's really wild isn't just the number itself, but the incredible speed at which it's growing. This quote from Morgan Beller, it just nails it. Think about it. Today's rockets aren't just for science experiments. They are the tall ships of our era. They're the critical transportation that, just like back in the age of sail, is unlocking entirely new markets we never thought possible. But let's be clear, this is not your grandfather's space race. That was a two-horse race between superpowers fueled by national pride. This new race, it's a global free-for-all with dozens of players, and it's all driven by commerce. Okay, so to really get what's happening now, we've got to rewind a bit and look at how things used to be in the era of what everyone calls old space. For decades, there was this massive bottleneck that kept space as an exclusive club. So for decades, right, space was a government-only game. The way it worked was with something called cost-plus contracting. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. A government agency would tell a company, hey, build us a rocket. And they'd agree to pay for the entire cost of the project, plus a nice little fee on top for profit. Now, while this made sure that these incredibly complicated missions actually got done, it created a huge problem. Think about it. If you're guaranteed to get paid for all your costs, no matter what, where's the motivation to be faster or cheaper? There isn't one. You're actually rewarded for being slow and expensive. And this right here, this is the result of that system. Under the old space model, to launch just 1 kilogram, we're talking about the weight of a pineapple, into orbit on the space shuttle, it cost a mind-blowing $54,000. That's a price tag that basically put a keep out sign on the final frontier for any real business. So what happened? What was the big bang that changed everything? It wasn't some slow, gradual improvement. It was a single, absolutely game-changing leap in technology, the reusable rocket. The difference here is, well, it's simple, but it's absolutely profound. Imagine building a brand new Boeing 747, flying it one time from New York to London, and then just ditching it in the ocean. That is literally how disposable rockets worked. Reusability finally meant you could land and fly the most expensive piece of that rocket, the giant first stage, over and over again. And the economic impact? Whoa, it is staggering. So a reusable Falcon 9 from SpaceX costs about $67 million to launch. A similar disposable rocket like the Atlas V, you're looking at over $160 million. I mean, it's not even a fair fight. This brought the cost of launching our Pineapple tumbling down. From that insane $54,000 on the shuttle to just $1,400 on a Falcon Heavy. That is a price drop of over 97%. Think about that for a second. Suddenly, the door to space wasn't just unlocked, it was kicked off its hinges. And this huge cost drop, it gave birth to a whole new way of thinking, new space. This is a totally different philosophy. It's all about private companies taking the lead, taking on the financial risks, and just moving fast, trying new things, and innovating like crazy. So, with the biggest barrier, that crazy launch cost, totally demolished, the floodgates just burst open. What happened next was pretty much a gold rush. But instead of California, it was in low Earth orbit. And what came out of that gold rush is a complete shakeup of who's in charge. Look at this. Today, the commercial sector is the big player here, making up almost 80% of the entire space economy. And why does that matter? Well, it means innovation isn't just about what governments want anymore. It's driven by what the market wants, what we want. Things like faster internet or better tools to track climate change. This commercial takeover has unlocked a whole new set of tools for us to use. We're not talking about hypotheticals here. We're talking about satellites watching our planet in real time, helping with everything from farming to disaster relief. We're talking about connecting the most remote places on Earth to the internet, and even building honest-to-goodness gas stations in orbit to refuel other satellites. This has led to what some people call a Cambrian explosion of new startups. You've got companies like Pixel, right? They're using these incredible cameras to see the Earth in ways we never could before, tracking the health of forests and farms. Then there's Varda Space, and they're literally manufacturing things like pharmaceuticals in zero gravity. And Leo Labs, they're building a traffic control system for space to stop satellites from crashing into each other. I mean, 20 years ago, this stuff was pure sci-fi. But this crazy, super fast growth, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like any gold rush, it's messy, it's chaotic, and it's creating some really big problems that we're only just starting to grapple with. We're now dealing with a problem that feels really familiar, but in a totally new and frankly, much more dangerous place. We've basically created a giant traffic jam in orbit. The US government is actively tracking over 23,000 pieces of junk in orbit that are bigger than a softball. And every single one of them is hurtling around the Earth at over 17,000 miles per hour. A collision with a tiny piece of junk at that speed could absolutely destroy a multi-million-dollar satellite, or, even worse, a crewed spacecraft. And look, this space junk problem, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We're also seeing more and more tension between countries as they compete for an edge in space. We've got the risk of a few giant companies creating monopolies. And maybe worst of all, the laws that govern space, they were written during the Cold War. They're totally unprepared for this commercial free-for-all. Okay, so with all these challenges, you might be asking, where is this all going? What's the big picture here that's making investors pour billions of dollars into this? Well, the long-term vision, the end game, is to build a completely self-sufficient economy in the space between us and the moon. They call it the cislunar economy. And we're talking about real business plans here. Things like mining ice from the moon's poles to make rocket fuel right there in space. Or using zero-G to manufacture materials you just can't make on Earth. Or even mining asteroids for rare metals. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's showing up in corporate boardrooms. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important, question of all. The final frontier is officially open for business. The door's been kicked down. But the real question is, how are we going to build this new economy? Are we going to learn from our mistakes and build something sustainable and collaborative? Or are we just doomed to repeat the same old conflicts and problems we've made for ourselves down here on Earth?